Welcome back to the Motivated Mind Zone. Glad to have you here. We've got a really interesting stack of sources today, and they're all focused on something, well, fundamental, not just for work or career, but really for mastering anything tricky, self-discipline. So we're going to dig into that essential difference between, feeling motivated and actually being consistent, being disciplined.
And the interesting part, like you said, is where the main source comes from.
Exactly. It's maybe not what you'd expect. The core material is actually from a transcript, something designed for English language learning.
Which honestly is kind of perfect, isn't it? It
Yeah.
just shows right away how universal these rules are. Doesn't matter if you're learning Spanish or starting a business or, just trying to drag yourself out of bed earlier.
Right. The mental mechanics are the same.
Absolutely. Persistence is persistence.
So, okay, our mission for this deep dive is to get past maybe the fluffy stuff, the inspirational quotes,
Mm-hmm.
and really treat self-discipline like a skill,
Mm-hmm.
something technical you can train, like a muscle.
Like a muscle, yeah. That's a great way to put it.
We need to pull out the actual strategies, the practical stuff for building up that internal engine.
Right.
For you listening, we're searching for those aha moments.
Yeah.
How do you actually get things done reliably, even when you're tired or busy or just, frankly, not in the mood?
Yeah, and this is really for anyone who wants to get knowledge quickly, but, properly understand it, especially if you felt that up and down thing with motivation.
Oh, yeah, the roller coaster.
Exactly, that roller coaster where you rely on feeling up for it. We're cutting through that today. We want to explore the foundation because discipline, really, it's the infrastructure. It's what guarantees you keep moving forward no matter how you feel.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's define what we're actually talking about. What does discipline mean in, like, day-to-day life?
Okay, so self-discipline, we hear it all the time, right? And it often gets mixed up with, I don't know, brute willpower or some kind of harsh personality trait. Like you either have it or you don't.
Right, like it's some fixed thing you're born with. Yeah, but these sources, they define it in a much more functional way, more accessible maybe.
They really boil it down well. At its heart, self-discipline is just the ability to do what you need to do consistently, even when you really, really don't feel like doing it.
Need versus feel. That's key.
It is. It's making that rational choice, choosing the future benefit over what feels easy or fun right now.
And I think it's not just about controlling your actions, like forcing your body to move. It's also about managing that internal chatter, right? That resistance.
Exactly. It's that internal negotiation. Your rational brain, the goal-focused part, saying, okay, we decided this was important, and overriding the emotional part that's screaming, but I want to watch TV.
Or eat the cookie.
Or eat the cookies, yeah. It means having some control over your thoughts and those fleeting emotions, not just what your hands and feet are doing.
So it's like an inner voice.
Yeah, the sources talk about that, like having a strong but quiet inner voice. It doesn't need to shout. It just firmly says, keep going. Or maybe just start.
Just start. Yeah,
Yeah.
often that's the hardest part.
Totally. And the sources give some really good everyday examples that show this in action, like really mundane stuff.
Okay, like what? The studying example seems pretty central given the source.
Right. So a disciplined person, they commit to, say, 30 minutes of study every day. Now, if they feel great, really motivated, awesome. Maybe they do 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
Sure.
But if they're exhausted, had a long day, they still do the baseline 30 minutes. That consistency, that's the discipline. It's not about how long you go when you feel good.
It's about showing up even when you feel bad.
Precisely. Or think about the alarm clock battle.
Oh, yeah.
Who actually leaps out of bed at 5:30 a.m. on a cold, dark morning feeling thrilled about it? Very few people, I'd wager.
Not me.
Discipline isn't waiting for that thrill. It's knowing the goal, whatever it is, getting to the gym. Having quiet time before work requires getting up.
Yeah.
So you get up because you already decided it was important. The feeling doesn't get a vote at that moment.
And the food one, that's universal.
Oh, absolutely. Reaching for the chips, the sweets, the easy process stuff takes zero discipline. It's the default path.
Right.
Discipline is that little pause, that conscious choice to grab the apple instead, or to actually cook the healthy meal, even though it takes more effort right now, because you know the long-term benefit outweighs the immediate ease. It's rejecting the easy wrong choice over and over.
Okay, but the encouraging thing, you mentioned it earlier, is that the sources agree this isn't fixed.
Yeah.
It's not like eye color.
Not at all. It's something you build. They use that phrase, just like a muscle.
Okay, I want to pause on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we say discipline is a muscle all the time, it sounds like a bit of a cliche.
It can. Yeah.
But if we really unpack that metaphor,
Oh.
thinking about how you actually train a muscle,
Hmm.
it gives us clues about how to build discipline, right? Like when you train muscles, you need what? Recovery, progressive overload.
Resistance management, yeah.
Does the source material kind of back that up?
Yeah.
Viewing it technically like that?
It absolutely does. The analogy is deeper than just start small. Think about progressive overload in the gym. You don't walk in and try to bench press 300 pounds on day one.
No, you'd hurt yourself.
Exactly. You start with something manageable, then you add a tiny bit more weight next week, then a bit more. Applied to discipline, it means don't try to start meditating for an hour, working out daily, learning piano, and quit sugar all on Monday.
Right, that's the recipe for burnout.
It is. You start with 5 minutes of meditation, maybe next week, 7 minutes, then 10. That gradual increase, that's progressive overload for your discipline muscle. It stops you from getting psychologically injured, failing instantly.
And what about recovery?
Yeah.
If discipline is a muscle, it gets tired, right? We hear
It's
about ego depletion or willpower fatigue. If I spend all morning resisting distractions, making hard choices,
by the afternoon, that muscle is tired.
yeah.
Your ability to exert self-control is lower.
So how does that fit in?
That's crucial. And the sources touch on it, especially with distraction management. Recognizing ego depletion means you structure your day strategically. You put the really hard stuff, the things that need maximum focus and control, like writing a complex report or deep study. You do that when your discipline muscle is fresh.
Usually in the morning for most people.
Typically, yeah. Then the easier, more automatic tasks, you save those for later when the muscle is fatigued. You don't have to be perfectly disciplined 24/7. That's impossible. It's about managing the load, training smart.
So practice small things daily, increase gradually, and schedule the tough stuff for when you're strongest.
Exactly. Do that, and your capacity for sustained effort, for discipline, it just grows.
Yeah.
It has to.
Okay, so this brings us to the core question, really. Why is discipline actually better than motivation for getting things done long term? Because our culture is obsessed with motivation, isn't it? Feeling hyped, feeling inspired before you start.
That obsession is actually, I think, quite harmful because it sets you up for failure. The reality is it's fickle. It's an emotion.
Right.
And emotions, by their very nature, are unreliable. They ebb and flow. One day you're riding high, feeling amazing, ready to conquer the world.
Yeah, I'm going to change everything.
Exactly. And the next day, maybe you slept badly, maybe something stressful happened, and you feel completely flat, zero drive. If your ability to work towards your goals depends entirely on catching that emotional high,
Your progress is going to be all over the place, sporadic.
at best, you'll spend most of your time just waiting to feel motivated again, which might not happen for days or weeks.
And that's where that analogy from the sources comes in, the spark versus the fire one. I like that.
Yeah, it's a good one. Motivation is like a spark. It's bright, it's intense, feels great for a second.
But it burns out fast. You keep striking the match.
Exactly. Discipline, though, that's the fire. It's maybe not as dazzling initially, doesn't have that sudden whoosh. It's a slow burn.
Steady.
Steady, reliable. It generates consistent warmth and energy day after day. It keeps things moving long after that initial spark of excitement has completely fizzled out.
I get the difference functionally. But why is the brain like that? Why do we crave the spark so much if the fire is better for us? Is it about, like, instant gratification?
It's absolutely about the reward system. It's dopamine. Motivation gives you a big, immediate hit of dopamine. That pumped up feeling is partly the reward of just anticipating doing the thing.
Ah, yeah.
Discipline's rewards, though, they're delayed. Learning a language takes months, years. Building a business takes years. The brain, initially, doesn't like that. The reward is too far off.
So the disciplined person is somehow overriding that.
They're learning to find a different reward, not just the distant outcome, but the immediate, smaller satisfaction of simply doing the thing, completing the task for today. That becomes its own little dopamine hit, reinforcing the habit, overriding the brain's craving for the big, instant, but unreliable motivational spark.
Okay, let's make this concrete with that student example, Ali, from the source material.
Well,
He was trying to study English while working, right,
okay.
and relied on motivation.
That's right. So on Monday, maybe Ollie watches an inspiring YouTube video about language learning. He feels super motivated, so he dives in, studies for like 2 hours straight. Feels amazing. Big dopamine hit.
Yeah, crushed it.
Exactly. But the source notes that Tuesday, he's wiped out from his job. He doesn't feel like it, so he skips studying completely. Wednesday, he feels guilty, struggles to get back into it.
Okay, versus the other student.
Versus the disciplined student, let's say she commits to just 20 minutes every single day, no matter what, even on tired days, she does her 20 minutes.
She might never have that 2-hour heroic session.
Probably not, but over the week, she logs, 140 minutes of consistent, focused effort. Ollie chasing the motivation dragon, maybe he only got his 120 minutes on Monday and then nothing. And worse, he broke his routine.
So the disciplined student actually learned more, even with shorter sessions.
Absolutely, because real progress, especially in skill building, isn't about occasional bursts of speed. It's about steady forward movement. That disciplined student is building momentum. They're wiring a habit into their brain. That consistent 20 minutes is far more powerful than 2 hours once in a blue moon, especially when you're trying to fit it around a busy life like Ollie was.
So what this really means is that successful people, the ones who achieve big things over time, athletes, writers, entrepreneurs, whatever, they are necessarily gifted with more motivation.
No, not usually.
They've just figured out how to, like, industrialize their effort. They've built systems.
Yes. They don't wait for the stars to align, for the perfect mood to strike. They've set up the internal machinery to just show up and do the work, whether they feel like it or not. That's the infrastructure. Discipline is the infrastructure of achievement.
Okay, so if discipline is that slow-burning fire, how do we keep it fueled? How do we make sure it actually burns every day without us having to constantly fight for it? This must be where habits come in.
Habits are absolutely the key. They're the linchpin. Because, fundamentally, habits save energy. Mental energy.
How so?
Well, when something becomes a habit, it moves from your prefrontal cortex, the part that does conscious decision-making, which takes effort, to the basal ganglia, the part that runs automatic routines.
Ah, so you don't have to decide to do it anymore. It just sort of happens.
Exactly. You bypass the need for willpower. Brushing your teeth isn't usually a big internal struggle, right? It's automatic. The goal is to make your key disciplined actions feel more like brushing your teeth. You do them without fighting that internal resistance because the brain already has a well-worn path for it.
So the ultimate aim isn't just to force yourself to be disciplined forever. It's to build habits so good that discipline becomes almost effortless, or at least less effortful, less draining.
Precisely. You want to reduce that decision fatigue. So let's get into some of the specific, simple habits the source material recommends. They seem really small, almost trivial sometimes, but they work because they create immediate positive momentum. They get the ball rolling.
Okay, what's first? I bet I know. Making the bed.
Bingo! Making the bed every morning. It sounds so basic, like something your parents nagged you about.
Totally.
But there's real psychology behind it. You start the day by accomplishing something, instantly. Task completed. Check.
Admiral McRaven talked about this, right, in that famous speech.
He did. It gives you a small sense of pride, makes things feel a bit more organized, more under control. It signals to your brain, okay, we're getting stuff done today. Order matters. That tiny win makes the next positive action just a little bit easier.
Okay, makes sense. What else? Controlling the day scope.
Yes, writing a short to-do list, and the emphasis is on short.
Not a giant brain dump of everything.
No, just 3 or 4 things, the really important ones. The purpose isn't to list every single task you could possibly do.
Yeah.
It's to clarify your priorities. What must get done today?
So it prevents you from feeling overwhelmed and scattering your energy.
Exactly. And checking those few crucial things off gives you that satisfying feeling of control and accomplishment.
Okay. The sources also mention consistency habits around time, like waking up at the same time.
Yeah, waking up consistently, even on weekends if possible. It helps regulate your body's natural rhythm, your circadian rhythm, makes it easier to wake up feeling rested over time.
And the big one for modern life, the phone.
Ah, the phone, yes. Environmental control. Putting the phone away, like physically away when you need to focus, studying, working, whatever.
Not just face down on the desk.
Ideally, no. In another room is best. Out of sight, out of mind, or at least less in mind, because just seeing it can trigger the urge to check it.
Okay, and then there were things like drinking water in the morning. Seems very small.
Small, but it's about starting with healthy choices, hydration, and again, it's an easy win first thing. And then, crucially, setting a fixed time for your focused activity.
Right, anchoring it, like deciding I will study for 20 minutes right after breakfast.
Precisely, or immediately after I get home from work. That anchors the new behavior to something you already do automatically.
And that mechanism, linking a new habit to an old one, that's habit stacking, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Can we dig into why that works so well? It's not just about remembering, is it?
No, it's about leveraging the brain's existing wiring. Every habit you already have, making coffee, brushing teeth, checking email, follows what's called the cue routine reward loop. There's a trigger, the cue, the action itself, the routine, and the benefit you get, the reward.
All right.
When you stack a new habit, you're essentially hijacking the cue of an existing strong habit. The end of the old habit becomes the trigger for the new one.
So using the example from the source, after I finish my morning tea existing cue, I will listen to my 15-minute language podcast, New Routine.
Exactly. Finishing the tea automatically triggers the thought, now it's podcast time. You don't have to rely on remembering randomly or waiting for motivation. You've built it into the flow.
You're surfing the momentum of the old habit.
Perfectly put. You're using the established neural pathway to launch the new one with much less friction. And this underlines the main principle here. Don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight.
Start small. Ridiculously small, maybe.
Yes. If you want to read more, start with 1 page a day. Seriously, just 1 page. If you want to build a study habit, 10 minutes is fantastic to start. It's enough to reinforce the pattern in your brain. Discipline grows slowly, deliberately. It's built brick by brick, not by trying to build the whole wall in one go.
Okay, so we've got the daily engine, the habits, the consistency. But an engine needs steering, right? And we need to know where we're going. That must be where the bigger picture stuff comes in goals and planning.
Exactly. If the daily habits are the fuel and the engine, then goals provide the destination, the direction.
Where do you actually want to end up?
Right. And planning. Planning provides the map, the actual path to get there, step-by-step directions.
And the source material warns pretty clearly, doesn't it? Trying to be disciplined without goals and a plan is like wandering in the woods without a map.
Yeah, you'll just get lost. You might walk for miles, expend a lot of energy, but you won't necessarily get anywhere meaningful. You'll get easily distracted by side paths, and eventually, you'll probably just get discouraged and give up because you have no idea if you're making progress.
So a clear goal gives the daily grind meaning. My 15 minutes of study today isn't just 15 minutes. It's a step towards Holding a conversation in 6 months.
Precisely. It connects the small actions to the big ambition. And the planning process is where you take that potentially intimidating big ambition and you break it down. You reverse engineer it into things you can actually do today, tomorrow, this week.
So the sources lay out some steps for doing this effectively. First, obviously, set clear goals. Be specific.
Specific and maybe measurable. Not just get better at English, but be able to understand 80% of a podcast episode in 3 months.
Okay. Second step. Write
Mm-hmm.
down. They really emphasize this. Why is physically writing the goal down so important? It seems a bit old-fashioned.
It might seem old-fashioned, but it works. Writing it down makes it feel more real, more concrete. It's a form of commitment. It takes it out of the realm of vague wishes floating around in your head.
Wouldn't it be nice if...
Yeah, exactly. And turns it into an intention, an instruction almost. This is what we're doing. Psychologically, that transition from abstract thought to physical artifact makes you much more likely to actually act on it.
Okay. And the third step connects back to the habits, breaking the big goal down into small, actionable steps.
This is critical. If your goal is run a marathon in a year, that's huge and scary. The plan breaks it down. Week 1, run 1 mile 3 times. Week 2, run 1.5 miles 3 times. For language learning, maybe it's practice speaking with a tutor for 15 minutes twice a week. Learn 5 new words every morning. Review grammar for 30 minutes on Sunday.
So it shifts your focus from the giant, distant mountain peak to just the next few steps right in front of you. Makes it feel doable.
Totally doable. And that leads right into the next piece, tracking your progress.
Okay, so goal is the destination, plan is the map, tracking is like the GPS, telling you where you are now.
Excellent analogy, yes. Tracking is probably the most underrated tool for keeping discipline going long term because it creates a positive feedback loop.
Now, how does that work?
When you track, you see the evidence of your effort. You tick off that box. Did my 15 minutes today? Check. Even if you don't feel like you made huge progress, you see the check mark, that visual proof of consistency, that small win.
Easy, a little boost, a little dopamine hit maybe.
Exactly. A sustainable one. It confirms I did the thing I said I would do. That feeling makes you want to do it again tomorrow. It turns discipline, which can feel like a chore initially, into something intrinsically motivating because you see yourself succeeding step by step.
And the sources also stress starting with small goals here too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just small daily actions, but achievable weekly goals.
Yes. Don't set your first goal as become fluent. Set it as, I will stick to my 15-minute daily study plan for 5 out of 7 days this week.
Something you can actually hit.
Something you can hit. Because hitting those small goals builds belief. It builds confidence in your ability to follow through. And that confidence fuels more discipline. Each small win reinforces the identity of, I am someone who sticks to their plans. Eventually, the big goal doesn't seem so impossible anymore. It just seems like the natural result of all those consistent small wins.
Okay, we've laid out a nice, orderly path here. Goals, plans, habits, tracking. It sounds great on paper.
Uh-huh. The ideal scenario.
But we all know life isn't that neat. Discipline is hard because stuff gets in the way. There's friction. So if we're treating this like a skill, we need to troubleshoot. We need to anticipate the common problems, the things that knock people off track.
Absolutely. You have to expect challenges. Forewarned is forearmed, right? The sources highlight 4 really common roadblocks, things that consistently stop people from being disciplined.
Okay, let's tackle them one by one. First up, the big one, just laziness, procrastination, that feeling of, ugh, I just don't want to start, that inertia. What's the fix?
The go-to technique, mentioned widely in the sources and elsewhere, is the 5-minute rule.
Okay, how does that work?
It's a psychological trick, really. You know the biggest hurdle is just starting. The resistance is always highest right before you begin. So you make a deal with yourself. I will just do this thing for 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes.
And the idea is that after 5 minutes, you're already rolling, so you'll likely keep going.
Often, yes. Starting is the hardest part. Once you're engaged, the task itself often takes over and the resistance fades. But what if it doesn't?
Yeah, what if 5 minutes are up and you still really want to stop? I've definitely been there, just counting down the seconds.
Okay, so if that happens, the next layer is micro commitment. Don't just instantly quit. Bargain again. Okay, I'll just finish this one paragraph, or I'll just solve this one math problem, or I'll just do one more set at the gym.
Break it down even smaller.
Even smaller. Keep the momentum going, even if it's tiny. Sustain it just long enough for your brain to shift gears fully into the task. Honestly, just getting over that initial hump, that activation energy, that's like 80% of the battle most days.
Okay. Challenge number 2, distractions, especially the phone. Social media notifications, emails popping up, they just wreck focus.
The modern plague, yeah. We know they're bad for focus, but we still look.
So what's the solution here? Just try harder not to look.
Trying harder rarely works long term because it relies on that depletable willpower muscle we talked about. The real solution is environmental control. You have to engineer your surroundings to support your goals, make the disciplined action easy, and the distractions hard.
Okay, so that means like having a dedicated workspace, turning off notifications.
Yes, those are basics, but the sources suggest going further, being more ruthless. Physical distance is key.
Get the phone out of the room entirely.
If you can, yes, put it in a drawer, leave it downstairs, whatever it takes, because just seeing the phone can trigger the habit loop of wanting to check it. The goal is to minimize context switching. Every time you even glance at a notification, even if you ignore it, your brain pays a small switching cost. It loses focus. A truly disciplined environment is quiet, dedicated, and ideally free of tempting triggers.
Makes sense. Okay, challenge 3. I don't have time, the classic excuse. I'm just too busy.
This one requires a fundamental mindset shift. The sources are pretty clear. It's almost never truly about not having time. It's about not making time. It's about priorities.
We all have the same 24 hours.
Exactly. So the question isn't, do I have time? It's, is this important enough for me to make time for it? The sources often suggest thinking in tiny percentages, like the 1% principle.
What's the...
Can you find 15 minutes a day for your goal? Just 15 minutes. That's roughly 1% of your entire day. Almost everyone can find 1% if they decide it's important.
So it's about carving out those small pockets, not waiting for a mythical giant block of free time.
Absolutely. If you wait for a free 2-hour slot to magically appear, you'll be waiting forever. Discipline means being ruthless with those small chunks. Treat your 15-minute study session or your 20-minute workout like a non-negotiable appointment. Put it in your calendar. Respect it like you'd respect a meeting with your boss.
Right. Make it concrete. Okay, final challenge. Giving up too soon. People start strong, but then they don't see results fast enough, and they just quit.
Ah, the valley of disappointment. This is where so many dreams die.
Why does it happen?
Because effort and results are rarely linear, especially at the beginning. You put in a ton of effort learning vocabulary, practicing scales, going to the gym, but the visible progress feels tiny, almost non-existent.
It feels like you're spinning your wheels.
Exactly. It's discouraging. The key here is patience and understanding the compound effect. Discipline is the commitment to keep showing up, keep putting in the reps, even when the results aren't obvious yet. You have to trust the process. That muscle is getting stronger, that knowledge is accumulating, even if you can't see the big changes day to day. You can't expect 1 week of effort to undo years of habit or produce massive results.
So you just have to keep the faith and keep going.
Yeah.
What if you slip? You miss a day, you eat the cake, you skip the workout. Is it all ruined?
No, absolutely not. And this is crucial. The sources emphasize self-kindness here. Discipline isn't about being a perfect, infallible robot. That's impossible. It's about persistence.
Getting back on track.
Getting back on track quickly. If you miss a day, acknowledge it without beating yourself up. Okay, I slipped up today. And then the most important part. Consciously decide to start again tomorrow. Or even right now, if possible. Don't fall into the what the hell effect.
What-
That's where you have one small lapse. Oh, well, I already broke my diet with that cookie. And it becomes an excuse to just completely abandon everything. Might as well eat the whole box now.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
A single slip up is just a data point. It's not a total failure unless you decide to make it one. Be kind to yourself, learn from it if you can, and just get back to the plan. That resilience is part of being disciplined.
Wow, okay. So putting this all together, this deep dive really drives home that discipline isn't just some nice-to-have virtue. It's like the essential operating system for achieving anything meaningful long-term. Language fluency, building a skill, getting fit, whatever it is.
It really is. It boils down to that ability to just show up every day, especially on the hard days, the tired days, the I don't feel like it days.
And it's not about needing huge chunks of time or feeling constantly inspired. It's about the power of that consistent, small effort, that 15 or 20 minutes.
Exactly. Done consistently, stacked onto existing habits, supported by an environment you've consciously designed, it adds up way faster than people think. It stops being a chore you force yourself to do. It becomes a habit. And eventually, it just becomes part of who you are, part of your lifestyle.
And maybe the biggest takeaway for me is the urgency. Don't wait. Don't wait until you feel motivated. Don't wait for the perfect time or when things calm down.
Because that's giving resistance the power. Waiting is a decision against starting.
Right. The perfect time to start building that discipline muscle, building that bridge to your goals is always right now.
If we could boil down everything we've discussed into one final core message, it's this. Self-discipline isn't a gift you're born with. It's not magic. It is built systematically, step by step, day by day, using all these tools we talked about, the small habits, the planning, the environmental tweaks, the troubleshooting.
Yeah, you don't need to be perfect.
No, forget perfect. Just aim for consistent, relentlessly consistent.
Okay, so based on everything in the sources, we have two direct, actionable steps for you listening right now. Things to do this week.
First, set one small goal for this week. Make it ridiculously achievable, something you genuinely feel you can hit, say, 80% of the time, even if you have a bad day or two. Maybe it's, I will do my new 5-minute habit 4 times this week. Keep it small.
Get that win. Build that momentum.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Second, make a simple plan for that small habit. When and where will you do it? Be specific. And then follow that plan every day if possible, even if it's just for 10 minutes. If you can consistently show up for just 10 minutes, honestly, you will be amazed at the difference it makes over a few weeks or months. Hashtag outro.
That was incredibly practical, a really dense deep dive. We've gone from defining discipline beyond just willpower, looking at why that steady fire beats the motivational spark, digging into the nuts and bolts of daily habits and planning, and even troubleshooting the common ways we get derailed.
And hopefully, the main thing to take away is that you can build this. It's a skill. And if you miss a day, if you fall off track, it's not the end of the world. Don't let one slip turn into giving up entirely.
Right. Just get back up the next day. Discipline isn't about never falling down.
It's about reliably getting back up, consistently choosing to start again. That's the real superpower.
So we'll leave you with one final thought to chew on, something that really sums up this whole exploration.
Discipline is the bridge between goals and success. So the question for you is, what small, non-negotiable step taken today will start building that bridge for you? Stay focused, build your fire, and keep learning.